Pitchers are liars and deceivers. They throw pitches that look like they're going to be strikes, but then they're balls. They throw pitches that look like they're going to be balls, but then they're strikes. They mess with timing. They mess with arm angles. They are deceitful people. The batter, meanwhile, is pure about his intentions. He brings his big ol' stick up there. He swings it as hard as he can. He says, "I'm trying to hit the baseball," and acts accordingly. I believe that all pitchers, particularly good ones, are evil. However, the amount of evil within each pitcher varies. We're going to take a look at the best pitchers from the present as well as recent past and try to find a correlation between their evil and their effectiveness on the mound. Justin Verlander kicks off our future Hall of Famer tier. I just have to say right up front, this man is extremely evil. The first piece of evidence, appropriately, is giving in to the dark side and ramping up his velocity late in games when he's angry. Second piece of evidence, well, he did win his first World Series on the cheating Astros team in 2017. Perhaps the most devilish thing he's ever done is when facing off last spring against a 17-year-old Giants prospect, he pitched him backwards. Changeup, curveball, fastball. That is a deeply evil thing to do. Another piece of evidence, this guy is 43 years old and still pitching in the league. And as we know, evil people have longevity. Only the good die young. The only thing keeping him from being a 10 out of 10 on the evil scale is the fact that he helped my career immensely. So we're going to call it a 9 out of 10 for JV. Next up, Zack Greinke. This is a case where an enigmatic pitcher gets an enigmatic rating. This is someone who is simultaneously the most evil pitcher ever, but also the most harmless. He is evil in the sense that he's just plain rude, showing Alex Gordon videos of himself hitting home runs, telling Trevor Plouffe that he was easy while they were on vacation. Harmless in the sense that he didn't even want to be an evil pitcher. He wanted to be a shortstop. He wanted to start over the minor leagues. Evil in the sense that he can hold a grudge. He can hold a grudge against Chipotle for the guacamole prices, even though he made hundreds of millions of dollars. Harmless in the sense that he just wanted good hygiene for everyone. And finally, evil in the sense that he admits you can't trust anyone who's a cat person, but is himself a cat person. This is simultaneously a 1 and a 10 out of 10 in terms of evil. Wait, what's with this hat? Vuori. This video is sponsored by Vuori, who I'm pretty much head to toe in right now. Let's start with Vuori's Meta Pant, their take on the classic 5-pocket silhouette. I call these airport pants, mime, rolling luggage, but they're so versatile, appropriate for almost any situation. A true super utility player in baseball terms. I also have the moisture-wicking Strato Tech Polo for when it's hot, as it often is springtime in Atlanta. And for when it's a bit chilly, the Beach Fleece Crew is essential. I'm impressed by how warm it is without feeling suffocating, without feeling heavy. It's still breathable, which really leads me to the overall point here. Fellas, no longer must we choose between dressing to impress and feeling comfortable. Whether you're looking for premium loungewear, premium activewear, or premium everyday wear like I'm wearing right now, check out the link to Vuori in this video's description down below, or scan the QR code on screen right now. Thank you to Vuori for sponsoring today's video. Clayton Kershaw. I think this guy is totally underrated in terms of the evil that he possesses within his spirit and soul. And maybe the most evil thing about him is that he got away with it, right? Some people even pitied him. They pictured him sitting on the bench after he blew yet another playoff start. Oh, gee, I'm so good, but I'll never win the World Series. Oh, woe is me. We actually pitied this man. And then he wins 3 World Series right at the end of his career. And you know, some people might look at me and judge a book by its cover and say, no, Bailey, you're saying he's evil because of his faith, because of his stance on pride and social issues. That is not what I am saying. I'm gonna let you in on a little something. These guys are almost all conservative. It's just not a factor. Max Scherzer, I'm just gonna say it. Fake demon. Performative. I think this is a guy who is a pleasure to be around for 5 days and then turns on the antics that gave him the nickname Mad Max on the 6th, We're talking about sort of the foaming at the mouth at Chase Utley or pitching with a black eye. He even admitted that when he got to the Blue Jays, some of the players were intimidated by him, even though at his heart, he's just a goofball. His game day persona is an act that he puts on for himself, to get himself amped up. Truly evil pitchers operate on pure hatred for the man standing in the batter's box. They don't respect him, they just hate him. And that hatred carries off the field and manifests in a hatred for all of humanity. The best I can give Scherzer is a 4 out of 10 on the evil scale. So that's sort of the past generation. Let's talk about the 2 best pitchers in baseball right now. Tarik Skubal. At first glance, I gotta say, not that evil. It's actually very impressive that he's managed to win back-to-back Cy Young Awards without being overtly evil. I think when it comes to the question of does he hate his opponent or respect his opponent, this interaction he had against Corey Seager speaks volumes. You know, Seager was just giving him the business, getting hit after hit. He finally gets him to line out, and he gives himself a little bit of a sarcastic, celebration. I think that shows respect for his opponent and not evil. And so based on that history, I would give him a 1 or a 2. However, he has done some things recently that make me think we need to upgrade that number. You know, winning that ARB settlement this past offseason for $13 million more, maybe you wouldn't call that evil, but I would call it cunning. You know what is evil, though? Joining the USA WBC team and only pitching 1 game against Team Great Britain of all teams, and then having this hesitation, oh, maybe I'll come back, maybe I'll pitch, I want to stick around with these guys. No, just kidding, I'm going back to the Tigers. As far as his pitching style goes, I think he throws an unethical fastball. He just rears back, throws it 100 miles per hour right down the middle, doesn't even really locate, doesn't matter, they can't hit it. But I do think the fact that he also dominates with his changeup is ethical. If your put-away pitch is a changeup, that is ethical. If your put-away pitch is a sweeper or a slider, I hate to say it, that is a little bit unethical of you. One final observation, there's really no nice way to say this. He looks like a kid that bites people. I don't know if he would bite as a kid. I don't know, maybe I give off that vibe too. I'm just saying. 4 out of 10, right next to Max Scherzer. Paul Skenes. You know, one thing Paul Skenes has that is adjacent to Justin Verlander's brand of evil is that they both have the hot, blonde, famous partner. And I do think sometimes evil people have that. For example, Ryan Reynolds. I believe Ryan Reynolds contains a great darkness within him. He has that nonchalant aura akin to someone like Nolan Ryan, who was evil in the sense that he would pitch bloodied, and if you came after him, he'd just put you in a headlock and start wailing on you. Some of the more evil historical greats were more chalant, like Bob Gibson, that would be a 10. Pedro Martinez, a sneaky 8 or a 9. Paul Skenes, there's something very cold and calculating about him. He had a 4.76 GPA in high school, and I'm like, what? It goes above 4? I'm going to call it a 6 out of 10. Jacob deGrom. This is the most evil guy of all time. I would put him up there with any dictator. I mean, he has a villain origin story. You know, the Terry Collins conversation in the dugout, the cutting the hair to unlock his prime. You want to know how I got these scars? Tommy John. This guy's antisocial, he hates humanity, he big-leagued Jolly Olive, he big-leagued Eno. Look at his Rangers photo day. Just look at it, just really look at it. Childhood hero, none. Childhood hero, none. Pure distilled hatred for all of humanity. If he could flip a switch and strike us all down, he would. We just need to be thankful that he found the pitcher's mound before he found that switch. And the most evil of pitching styles as well. In his prime, he would play, you don't even get to see my slider. I'm just going to throw fastballs the entire first time through the order, and then you will have to earn the slider later. And yes, he had a lot of great starts that resulted in losses and no decisions, and I think that just made him even more evil. To the point that he's going to take out those frustrations while on rehab assignment against single-A hitters, throwing 102 miles per hour. No doubt in my mind, this is a 10 out of 10 in terms of evil. Chris Sale, 2 words to describe this guy: gruff and hyper-competitive. The type of guy who would dive off the mound and break his rib to try to complete a game. The type of guy who would punch himself in the head with a baseball after surrendering a walk. Chris Sale, more eccentric than evil if I'm being honest. This is a guy who has missed starts because he tore up the vintage uniforms he was set to wear that day. And when I really think about what type of person that is, tearing up vintage clothing, it just makes me think festival girl. I think Chris Sale is a festival girl, and hot take, I don't think festival girls are really all that evil. I think they're just having a good time. 5 out of 10, right down the middle. Gerrit Cole emits sort of a dorky dad energy, but he also did one of the most evil things I've ever seen. After the Astros lost Game 7 of the 2019 World Series, he showed up post-game wearing not Astros gear, but a Boris Corp hat, his own agent, signaling his own free agency. While the rest of his team grieved a hard-fought loss, he had already compartmentalized, he'd already moved on. He said, I'm going to get the record-breaking contract with the Yankees, I'm going to shave my beard, I really have no values and no loyalty. I'm Gerrit Cole, I'm going to throw over Jose Caballero's head, and then when I get him out, I'm going to give him sort of a Tim Robinson character-styled finger wag. 7 out of 10, evil. Logan Webb, extremely ethical pitching style, right? An east-west sinker baller, ground ball guy, doesn't overwhelm you in terms of the velocity, a lot of innings, just an extremely ethical force on the mound. And although you might point out the fact that he got suspended 80 games for PEDs as a prospect as evidence of his misgivings, I completely disagree because let's keep this in mind. Truly evil people almost never get caught and almost never face consequences for their actions. Logan Webb did. His 2 biggest fans are his grandmas, for crying out loud. This is a sweet, sweet boy. The only thing bumping him up from a 1 to a 2 is the fact that he does have the hot, blonde, famous partner effect. He is married to Kirsten Dunst. Framber Valdez, this is the evil Logan Webb. This is a left-handed pitcher, so if I were a nun and I saw him pitching left-handed, I would strike him with a ruler until he stopped. But otherwise, sinker baller, ground baller, lots of volume, very Logan Webb-like. The evil thing about Framber Valdez that's been uncovered in recent years is he doesn't like his catchers. In a 2024 meltdown versus the Angels, he started ignoring catcher Yainer Diaz, just straight up ignoring the game plan, going against it, doing whatever he felt like, and dealing with the consequences. And then after surrendering a grand slam in 2025, he had that weird cross-up moment with catcher Cesar Salazar where it just seemed like he beaned him on purpose. Those guys are supposed to have your back, so you should have theirs. I'm not going to say he's totally irredeemable like deGrom, but I'm going to call it an 8 out of 10. Shohei Ohtani is not evil. First of all, he's a hitter, and those guys are pure in terms of their intentions. But as a pitcher, if anything, he is a trickster spirit. In Norse mythology, he would be Loki. He could have us all fooled, in which case he would be a secret 10 out of 10 on the evil scale. Best I can give him right now is a 3, because he's full of mischief, like a raccoon. Zack Wheeler, not evil. 1 out of 10. It's insane. It's actually insane. I have never seen a pitcher this good who is not evil at all. It's incredible. Garrett Crochet, not that evil. His nickname is the Pig. I like pigs. I like that he gracefully shaved his head rather than subject us to terrible balding. There was weirdness with the 2024 workload, like the Heyman report that he wouldn't pitch in the playoffs as a starter without an extension. That was a little bit evil. He's also a lefty, so I'm going to smack him in the hand with the ruler, but otherwise, it's like a 3 out of 10. And finally, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, extremely ethical on the mound because he throws the slow curve. There's no pitch more ethical than the slow curve. I'm going to bump him up from a 1 to a 2 because he is absolutely nails in the postseason, and I believe that in order to be absolutely nails in the postseason, more often than not, you're going to need to go to a dark place mentally. Great pitchers collectively are more evil than average. I think moving forward, if you work in baseball, you should find a way to make evil a scoutable trait. 20 to 80 scale, this guy's got a 50 fastball, but a 60 evil. And if you don't believe me, let's look at the mentality of a completely run-of-the-mill big league pitcher in Marlins righty Tyler Phillips.
I'm thinking about blood and killing, a lot of crazy crap.
That's what they're thinking about. All of them. They're evil!